Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter number 15, Text 44. Udichim praviveshasham Gata purvam mahatmabhihi Hrudi brahma param dhyayan Navarteta yato gataha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. He then started towards the north, treading the path accepted by his forefathers and great men, to devote himself completely to thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he lived in that way wherever he went. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It is understood from this verse that Maharaj Yudhisthira followed in the footsteps of his forefathers and the great devotees of the Lord. We have discussed many times before that the system of Varnashrama Dharma, as it was strictly followed by the inhabitants of the world, specifically by those who inhabited the Aryavarta province of the world, emphasizes the importance of leaving all household connections at a certain stage of life. The training and education was so imparted, and thus a respectable person like Maharaj Yudhisthira had to leave all family connections for self-realization and going back to Godhead. No king or respectable gentleman would continue family life till the end, because that was considered suicidal and against the interest of the perfection of human life. In order to be free from all family encumbrances and devote oneself 100% in the devotional service of Lord Krishna, this system is always recommended for everyone because it is the path of authority. The Lord instructs in the Bhagavad Gita 18.62 that one must become a devotee of the Lord at least at the last stage of one's life. A sincere soul of the Lord like Maharaj Yudhisthira must abide by this instruction of the Lord for his own interest. The specific words Brahma Param indicate Lord Sri Krishna. This is corroborated in the Bhagavad Gita 10.13 by Arjuna with reference to great authorities like Asita, Devala, Narada and Vyasa. Thus Maharaj Yudhisthira, while leaving home for the north, constantly remembered Lord Sri Krishna within himself and following in the footsteps of his forefathers as well as the great devotees times. Thus it's Bhaktivedanta purport. Hare Krishna. So in today's verse, we're seeing how Pandavas, headed by Maharaj Yudhisthira, they all retire timely from their administrative responsibilities, because they were all rulers. They were ruling over Hastinapura. In fact, they were the rulers of the whole planet, because they were the emperors of the whole planet. So, being the emperors, having all the great opulence of the entire world, great army, great riches, great wealth, and loving brothers, everything. Yudhisthira, Maharaj Yudhisthira had everything at his disposal, but still, following the system of Varnashrama Dharma, in an Aryan civilization, in Aryan culture, there is a practice that at a certain stage of life, one must retire and devote oneself completely for the service of Supreme Personality of Godhead, for self-realization, for God realization. So all these will eventually follow when we engage in devotional service of Lord Sri Krishna. So this is a system in the Vedic culture. So in the same manner, Maharaj Yudhisthira also, he also retired timely and he is heading towards north, treading the path accepted by his forefathers and great men to devote himself completely to the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he lived in that way wherever he went. So this is the practice in Varnashrama system. The Vedic civilization is governed by this Varnashrama system. So in Varnashrama system, there are 4 Varna and 4 Ashramas. the four ashramas are, the four spiritual orders are there. Status, I mean, four spiritual stages of life: brahmacharya, gruhastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. So the first 25 years of life is considered as brahmachari, a life of brahmacharya, a life of austerity, practicing celibacy, sense control, mind control, samodamo, tapo, shaucham, shantirarjamam evacha. So all these, how to control one's senses, how to control one's mind, how to be austere, how to practice celibacy, serving the spiritual master, humility. These are all the qualities incorporated during the stage of brahmacharya. And then from the age of 25 to 50, that is stage of gruhastha ashrama, the second stage of life, wherein one enters into family life. He can accept the duties of householder and raises a family. And then pancha urdhvam vanam vrajet. They say after the age of 50 years one should give up all these household duties and go to vana, go to forest. You cannot continue in family life forever. So in Vedic civilization, this license for sense gratification is given only for a certain duration of time. In the early phase of life also, in brahmachari life also, there is sense control, there is no opportunity for sense gratification. And when once enter into grahastha ashrama also, there is a regulated sense gratification. It is not that grahastha ashrama is a license for sense enjoyment. There are also a lot of rules and regulations. It's a regulated lifestyle. And once he crosses 50 years of life, he has to give up all these household affairs. Both husband and wife should hand over their household responsibilities to their grown-up children, and then they should proceed towards holy places for vanaprastha ashrama. And then once he crosses 75 years, then he is prepared or he is fit to take sannyasa, a renounced order of life, a life completely dedicated for service of Lord Krishna and for self-realization. So at that stage, he has to give up the company of his wife also and be all alone, completely dedicating in the thought of Lord Krishna and spread the message of Krishna consciousness. So like this, there are four stages of life, there are four spiritual orders of life. So this is the system in the Vedic times, in the Varnashrama system. And this is very, very scientific division of the society. It's a very scientific system and it is good for everyone. Everyone should practice this because it's a system created by Lord himself, by Krishna himself. As Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita, that Chatur Varnam Maya Srishtam Gunakarma Vibhagashaha Tasya Kartaram Apimam Vidya Kartaram Avyam. He says like that. That means this Varnashrama system is established by Krishna himself, the creator himself, and one must abide by these principles. It's not that one should stick to family life, one should stick to life of sense gratification all throughout one's life. That is highly dangerous. It's a suicidal policy. Lord Krishna established this Varnashrama system. It's for the benefit of all living entities. So this is corroborated in many other places of the scriptures also. Like in Vishnu Purana it is mentioned that Varnashrama Charavatha Purushena Parah Puman Vishnu Aradhyathe Pantha Nanya Tattosha Karanam. That the Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped by properly following all these Varnashrama principles. Someone who is following these four stages of life and the four occupational duties, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and there are four stages, four spiritual stages: Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa. And he is sticking to these principles and he is fulfilling all those duties. He is performing, is carrying out all the duties connected to his Varna and Ashrama. Then it is very pleasing to Supreme Personality of Godhead because this is a system set forth by Lord himself. And someone who follows these principles and who carries out his respective duties, his prescribed duties, that is very satisfying to Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. It is as good as worshipping the Lord. And Bhagavatam also it is mentioned like Atah Pumbi Dvija Shreshta Varnashrama Vibhagashaha Swanushthitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. It is mentioned like that. That this Varnashrama Vibhagashaha is very important. Society must be divided into 4 Varna and Ashrama, and everybody must be engaged in performing their respective duties. It's like in the Varnashrama system, it's not that someone is superior, someone is inferior. No, like everybody are equally important. Just like in a body, see, there is a head, there are hands, there is belly, there are legs. So all the parts of the body are equally important. See, you have to carry out some work. Leg is also important, hands are also important, the belly is also important, head is also important. So nobody is neglected. Every part of the body is equally important. But at the same time, among all the 4, the head is considered to be most important, because without head, other parts of the body cannot run, it cannot function independently. So that's why in a Varnashrama system, there is no question of exploitation of others, there is no question of harassment or exploitation of other sections of the society. There is a mutual cooperation, there is a mutual support and cooperation, so that everyone can collectively engage in the devotional service of Lord Krishna. It's like the whole body, if all the parts of the body cooperate, then one can carry out the work very nicely and achieve all success, isn't it? And one will be happy. The same way, if all the sections of the society, they all cooperate with one another and engage in the devotional service of Lord Krishna, that is called Daivi Varnashrama system. In Daivi Varnashrama system, there is no question of separating one group from another group. All are spirit souls, all are part and parcels of Krishna, and everybody is a servant of Krishna. Jivera Swarupohai Krishnera Nityadas. And everybody should engage in the service of Lord Shri Krishna. So in Daivi Varnashrama system, there is complete oneness. So this was a practice in the Vedic civilization, and the same way, even Maharaj Yudhisthira, he is following the footsteps of his forefathers, the Mahatmas, and though he has the opulence of the whole world, because up to the period of Maharaj Parikshit, the whole planet was ruled under one flag, under one ruler. That was the ruler of Hastinapura. So Maharaj Yudhisthira had the sovereignty of the whole planet. He was the ruler of the entire planet Earth. All the 7 continents, oceans, land, rivers, mines, everything was under his control. He had a huge army. As you all know, how he conquered over Kauravas and he defeated them, and then he was enthroned as the king of Hastinapura by the arrangement of Lord Shri Krishna. And he was a pious ruler, religious leader. So, he's a Rajarshi. Rajarshi means a saintly king. So he was a most qualified person to rule over the earth. So Lord Krishna appoints Yudhisthira as the ruler of the whole planet. And he had everything at his disposal. Maharaj Yudhisthira, he had the cooperation from his brothers, all the Pancha Pandavas, Arjuna, Bhima, Nakula, Sahadeva. They were all completely cooperating with Maharaj Yudhisthira, and they had no rivals, there were no enemies. No one could challenge the Pandavas, the authority of the Pandavas. In spite of all this, he renounces. So this is a system in the Varnashrama system. We have come across a lot of such examples. Even Maharaj Rishabhadeva is incarnation of Krishna himself. He is an avatara, Shakti-avesha avatar of Lord Krishna. But still, he appoints his son Bharat as the emperor, and then he renounces. This is the system, this is the practice in the Vedic civilization, that no emperor, no king can continue forever. When he reaches certain stage, he has to renounce, he has to hand over the responsibilities to his younger children, the grown-up children, and he should renounce and go to the forest for spiritual cultivation, because that was the training given to them. Because in the brahmachari life also, when they are young, at the first stage of life, the first 25 years, that training is already there. How to control one's mind, how to control one's senses, and the understanding of the real purpose of life, the real goal of life was imparted already. The goal of life is what? Not to be engrossed in bodily comforts, bodily sense gratification. The goal of life is self-realization and understanding one's identity, one's relationship with Supreme Lord, to go back home, back to Godhead. So this was the purpose of life. This was already imparted to them in their brahmachari life. So that exposure, that training is already there. So as a result, when they come to the vanaprastha stage, they could easily, detach themselves from all the worldly comforts and accept this austere life. So one important point here is that in this verse, what is mentioned here is that Gata Purvan Mahatmabhihi, that treading the path accepted by his forefathers and great men. This is very important instruction, that why did Maharaj Yudhisthira took to this decision? Why did Maharaj Yudhisthira, though he had all these opulences, though he had all the comforts of life, why did he accept this life of detachment and renunciation and took to vanaprastha stage? So he took this decision because Gata Purvam Mahatmabhihi, which is mentioned here, that treading the path accepted by his forefathers and Mahatmabhihi, great men. By following in the footsteps of his forefathers and Mahatmas, the great people, great men. So this is the most important instruction here, that one must follow in the footsteps of great devotees, Mahatmas. One should not claim oneself to be a great authority and set his own way of leading life. See, this is one of the big disease among all the conditioned soul. Every conditioned soul thinks that he is perfect. He is very good. He is all right. And he doesn't want to submit to anyone. This lording over tendency, or to accept oneself as all perfect, this is one of the diseases of the conditioned soul. So we all have great faith in our own thinking, in our own intelligence, in our own sensual perceptions, and we do not want to submit to anybody else. But Maharaj Yudhisthira, he did not do that. See, Maharaj Yudhisthira, he was the emperor, he was the ultimate authority, so he could have continued to rule over the whole world. But he did not do so. He followed the footsteps of great devotees, Mahatmabhihi, Gata Purvam Mahatmabhihi. Purvam means those who are the forefathers, those great rulers in the past, because this whole dynasty, the Hastinapura rulers, how they ruled over the Kurus. He also thought about his past rulers. How did they rule over, and what examples they have set. In the same footsteps he need to follow actually. And Mahatmabhihi, Mahatmas means those who are great devotees. So this is the way of leading a perfect life. Perfect life means one should follow in the footsteps of great devotees, not that one manufactures his own way. My way is right way. People say like that. Whatever I decide, whatever I do, that is the best way. That is not the correct thing. No, one should follow the great authorities. Again, there are, one should follow great authorities means the real Mahatmas, because there are so many people who claim themselves as Mahatmas in the current day world. So actually we need to understand who is a Mahatma, because there are many so-called spiritual leaders, there are so many celebrities, there are so many so-called great personalities, and people get misled by keeping them as their ideals. Because generally we all require an ideal, we all require some role models. That's what Krishna also says in Gita, that Yatha Raja Yatha Praja, and he says that a general mass of people always follow a leader. The Krishna, he instructs Arjuna like that. Arjuna, you are also an established authority, an established leader, and whatever standards you set, common people will follow. So like that, that is a natural tendency. Like our mental psychology of all human beings is that we all want to follow a leader. We all want to follow a great personality. So now, who is a real great personality? Whom should we follow? Because there are people, for a karmi, for a sense gratifier, whoever will enhance his sense gratification, he becomes a leader. Like a politician, if a politician arranges for a better sense gratification, then he is a Mahatma for him. Or someone who is good in sports, he is a Mahatma. Someone who is a film star, a great celebrity, is a Mahatma. For some people, whoever encourages their own personal sense gratificatory ideas is a Mahatma. So like this, in the world there are different types of people are there. There are different types of mindsets are there. Different type of bodily conditions are there, and accordingly they have invented their own Mahatmas, their own leaders, and people follow them. Unfortunately, by following such kind of misleading leaders, they are also doomed, and the leader, of course, he is also doomed because he is misleading so many people. So before we accept someone as a Mahatma, so we have to understand the qualifications, the qualities of a Mahatma. See, anybody who is in the bodily conception of life, anyone who is having this bodily conception, or a conditioned soul, is all subjected to these 4 defects. What are those 4 defects? Brahma, Pramada, Vipralipsa and Karanapata. That a conditioned soul is subjected to Brahma. Brahma means illusion. Pramada means to commit mistakes, to err. Vipralipsa means this cheating tendency or duplicity. And Karanapato means our karana, our senses, our instruments are all defective. So any person of this world who is a conditioned soul are all having these 4 defects. So a Mahatma whom you accept him as a Mahatma, if he is a conditioned soul with these 4 defects, then he is also defective, and the people who follow him, they are also doomed actually. So these defects one should understand. What are those defects of a conditioned soul? One is Brahma, that one we all come under illusion. Coming under illusion means what? Illusion means wrong sense perception. Like, fact is something, the reality is something, but I perceive it in a different way. That's called illusion. Just like the sun, or how we see the sun in the sky. The sun looks like a hot fiery ball, but is it just a ball? It's much more bigger than the size of the earth, isn't it? So it's many hundreds and thousands of times bigger than earth. But for us, for our eyes, it looks like it's just a small fiery ball. That's called illusion. The reality is different, but what we perceive is something else. That's called illusion. There are many examples. Just like we see a mirage, in a hot summer, in the afternoon time when you are going in a highway, then you see in the road some water body is there. That's called mirage. There is no water body there, but for our eyes it appears like that. So the reality is different, but what we perceive is something else. That is called illusion. Or in a railway station, you see the 2 railway tracks. If from far distance, if you see both the railway tracks are merging with each other. Are they merging? No, they remain as 2 parallel lines. But for our senses, it appears like that. That is called illusion. So every conditioned soul in this material world is subjected to this Brahma, this illusion. So everybody is subjected to this illusion. And with this kind of illusion, can we expect them to have perfect knowledge? Not possible. The same way, second defect is Pramada, to commit mistakes. Everybody in this conditioned world are bound to commit mistakes. To err is human, they say, So even the so-called great leaders also have committed big mistakes. So in our day-to-day activities, in the day-to-day life, we commit so many mistakes. So this is one of the common defect of a conditioned soul. He is subjected to these defect of committing mistakes. And third defect is Vipralipsa. Vipralipsa is to cover up the facts or duplicity, cheating tendency. Vipralipsa means what? Like, truth is something, but you present it in different way. That's called cheating or duplicity. Just like, you may be going through a lot of challenges, lot of difficulties, but when some people ask you, how are you doing, sir? Oh, I'm doing very good. I'm all right. I'm fine. They say like that. They externally they pose as though they are very nicely situated. They keep smiling, but internally they will be suffering with lot of problems in life. That's called covering up the facts. Or sometimes people, they dress up nicely as a very big rich man, but actually he may be worth just a few thousand rupees. But he will dress up and pose himself as a Karodapati. That's called cheating tendency, duplicity. Like that's what happens, when we go to some social functions, some social gatherings. People will be, they will be putting up lot of such kind of, external show, but reality will be different, isn't it? That's called cheating tendency. This is known as Reprolipsa or duplicitous nature. This is one of the defects of a conditioned soul. Sometimes our so-called scientists, they pose as great scholars. They know everything. They'll be big degree holders, PhDs, double PhD, and they want to be known as great learned people, great scholarly people. But actually their knowledge will be very, very meager. They have no knowledge about Supreme Lord. They have no knowledge about their relationship with Supreme Lord. Then immediately Krishna certifies them as what? Namam dushkrutino mudha prapadyante naradamaha maya apahrutajnana asurim bhavam ashrita. Anyone who is not a devotee of Lord Krishna, anyone who has not surrendered to Lord Krishna, then he should be immediately certified as what? Dushkrutina mudha naradama maya apahrutajnana. So like that. So we come across such kind of people, like they want to be known as great learned people, great scholarly people, but in reality they have very meager knowledge. So that is called duplicity or Reprolipsa. Karana, that is one of the defects of a conditioned soul. And another defect of a conditioned soul is Karana Pato. Karana Pato means our senses, our Karana, the instruments with which we acquire knowledge, are all defective, are all limited, isn't it? Our knowledge acquiring senses, our eyes, our ears, our nose, our tongue, our skin, with which we acquire knowledge, they are known as Gnanendriyas. They all have their own limitations. Our eyes can only see few things to certain extent. Ears can only hear few frequency of sound vibration. Like that, all our senses have got their own limitations. So like this, any conditioned soul with these defects cannot become a perfect leader. We should not accept such kind of a leader. A leader must be above these defects. A person of bodily conception of life, a person who is situated on this Dehatma Buddhi. Yasatma Buddhi Kunape Tridhatuke. There's a verse, very beautiful verse in Bhagavatam. In 10th canto, 84th chapter, text 13, it is mentioned that Yasyatma Buddhi Kunape Tridhatuke Swadik Kalatradishu Bhoma Ijjadi Yat Tirtha Buddhi Salilena Karhichit Janeshu Abhigneshu Sayeva Gokaraha. Someone who is a bodily conception of life, who is dwelling on this Dehatma Buddhi, I am this body, then he should be considered as Gokaraha. Karaha means what? Karaha means a donkey. So scriptures are talking very harshly, Anyone who thinks that he is his body, the Tridhatuke, the body made up of Tridhatu, Kapha Pitta Vayu. So anyone who is thinking himself his body, Yasyatma Buddhi Kunape Tridhatuke, and Swadhi Kalatradishu Bhoma Ijjadi, and who thinks that the place of birth has worshipable and and going to a holy place is just to have a bath. No, these are all people who are like, they are completely in gross ignorance, they are in gross bodily conception of life. Then they are not fit to be the leaders. We should not follow such kind of leaders. They are not Mahatmas. We should not keep them as our ideals, role models, because then we'll also be the same level. They are called as Gokhara. Gokhara means someone who is Khara means a donkey, Go means a cow. It means an animal platform. Anyone who is in a bodily platform is as good as an animal. This is the version of Bhagavatam. So whom should we accept as our ideals, our role models? A Mahatma, because we have to follow in the footsteps of Mahatma. That's what Yudhisthira Maharaj did. Yudhisthira Maharaj is following in the footsteps of Purvam, his forefathers, and Mahatma Bihi, the great souls, and he is renouncing everything. So now, who are those Mahatmas? Whom should we follow? Just like Yudhisthira Maharaj did. Similarly, we should also have some role models, some Mahatmas under whose direction we can also perfect our life. So then for that Bhagavatam says, that Tarko Apratishta Shutayo Vibinha Nasho Rusir Yasya Matam Na Bhinnam Dharmasya Tatvam Nihita Guhayam Mahajanayena Gatasa Pantaha. So this is the statement by Maharaj Yudhisthira himself. In Mahabharata he is saying, like we are reading Maharaj Yudhishthira's activities, and his own statement is there here, that Tarko Apratishta Shrutayo Vibinnaha. Like there are Tarka means one can go on debating, one can go on arguing, and there is no conclusion. And Shrutayo Vibinnaha, in the Vedic, in the Puranas, in the scriptures, Shruti, in the scriptures there are different scriptural directions are there. Dharma means what one should do, what are my duties. Regarding the duties also there are different versions are there, different type of prescriptions are there. And every Muni, every Rishi, every intellectual man, so-called intellectual man, they also, unless he presents a different version, a new version, he will not be recognized as a Muni, isn't it? So every Muni, every spiritual leader has to come up with his own idea. Just like we have come across a lot of the spiritual leaders in the current day society also. So everyone have their own version of spirituality. Unless he comes up with his own unique idea, he will not be recognized as a spiritual leader. So that's why there are different institutions are there, each quoting their own systems of spirituality. We cannot name them, but again, you all know that, isn't it? In our own city itself, Bangalore city, there are so many spiritual organizations are there. So, and each one have their own versions. So, Nasho Rushirasya Matam Na Bhinnam. So then, how do we understand what is dharma? What is real religious principle? Now, what is to be done? What is my real duty? Now, how do I understand this? That can be understood as Maharaj Yudhisthira is saying here, that dharmasya tattvam nihita guhayam mahajanayena gatassa pantaha. That one should follow in the footsteps of Mahajana, because this dharmasya tattvam nihita guhayam. What is real dharma? What is real duty of all the living entity? It is known to a Mahatma, Mahajanas. Mahajana means those are great authorities. It is hidden in their heart. Nihita guhayam. So Mahajanena gatassa pantaha. So it's a duty of all the conditioned souls in this world to follow in the footsteps of Mahajanas. Then why these Mahajanas, the Mahatmas? Because these Mahatmas are not in bodily conception of life. What does Krishna say? Mahatmanastu maam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha bhajanti ananya manaso gnatva bhutadim avyayam. So this in 9.13 Krishna has said that these Mahatmas are not in this bodily dehatma buddhi. They are not under the influence of three guna. The Mahatmas are Mahatmanastu maam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha. These Mahatmas are under the Daivi Prakriti of Lord Krishna. They are not under the Maha Maya. There are two types of Maya. There is a Daivi Maya and there is a Maha Maya. That is, Maha Maya is this external energy, Krishna's Bahiranga Shakti, consisting of these three guna, Trigunamayi Maya. Daivi Esha Gunamayi Maya, Mama Maya, Dhuratyaya. Krishna says that in 7.7 chapter he has mentioned that this Gunamayi Maya, this Trigunatmaka Maya, this is called external Mahamaya. This is the Krishna's Bahiranga Shakti, external energy of Lord Shri Krishna, and they are all in bodily conception of life. Dehatma Buddhi. So, those who are real Mahatmas, those who are real great souls, they are not in the bodily conception of life. They are above the three modes, above this Dehatma Buddhi, and they are under the influence of Daivi Prakriti of Lord Krishna, Lord's internal potency, Lord's Antaranga Shakti. They have transcended the modes of material nature and they are under the shelter of Lord's Antaranga Shakti. So that's why they are known as Mahatma, those whose consciousness is completely elevated, fully developed. So Mahatmanastu Mam Partha Daivim Prakriti Mashritaha Bhajanti Ananya Manaso Gnatva Bhutadim Avyayam. So this is also Krishna's own statement. So Mahatma are those who are above this bodily conception of life, those who are above the three modes of material nature, and they are pure devotees of Lord Krishna. Bhajanti Ananya Manasaha. Ananya Manasa means what? Anya means multiple things. Na Anya means, Ananya means there is no other multiple things. There is only one thought, there is only one pursuit, that is pleasure of Lord Krishna, satisfaction of Krishna. Bhajanti Ananya Manaso Gnatva Bhutadim Avyayam. And then why do they engage in the service of Lord Krishna like that? Without any other motive, without no other thoughts, without no other intention. Their only intention is to engage in the service of Lord Krishna. There is no other motivation, there is no other material motives. The Mahatmas are not those who engage in devotional service for some material benefit. No, I want to get this, so I do devotional service to Lord Krishna. I want some material benefit, I want some wealth, I want some position, so I want to engage in devotional service of Lord Krishna. That is not the quality of a Mahatma. Mahatmas are those who are Bhajanti Ananya Manaso. Ananya Manaso means without any other material motivation, pure devotional service. Now, pure devotional service, only then they can transcend the modes of material nature. This is again quoted by Krishna also. How can one rise above the modes of material nature? Krishna says, Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. That avyabhicharena bhakti means pure devotional service. Only then one can rise above the three modes of material nature. So unmotivated devotional service. So then these Mahatmas are those who are, they engage in pure devotional service, knowing that Gnatva Bhutadim Avyayam, knowing that Krishna is the Adi, he is the origin of everything and he is inexhaustible. So one should accept such Mahatmas. That means a pure devotee of Krishna. So one should accept a pure devotee as his role model, a pure devotee as his leader, not someone else, not a conditioned soul. That is condemned in Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam says that Swavid Varaha Ustra Karai Samstuta Purushah Pashuhu Nayat Karna Patopato Jato Nama Gadhagrajaha. This is in 2nd canto 2.3.19. Like there Bhagavatam says that anyone who accepts some ordinary conditioned soul as his leader, as his guide, then he is as good as Swavid Varaha Ustra Karai Samstuta Purushah Pashuhu. So very strongly Bhagavatam condemns those people. Anyone who does not accept a pure devotee as his leader and instead accepts some conditioned soul of this world as his leader, as his role model, then they are like Swavid. Swa means what? Swa is, the meaning of the word Swa is a dog. And then Vidvaraha. Vidvaraha means what? A pig. Vidvaraha is a hawk. And then Ustra. Ustra means, Ustra is a camel. Khara is an ass, a donkey. So they have chosen specifically these 4 kinds of animals. There is a reason for that also. Why these people who follow some materialistic leaders, they are compared to these 4 animals. They are compared to a dog, a hawk, and a camel, and a khara, that is a donkey. So someone who accepts a conditioned soul, who is defective, like with all those 4 defects, Brahma, Pramada, Karanapata, Reprolipsa, and you accept him as your role model, as your leader, and you follow in their footsteps, then you are as good as Savid, Varaha, Ustra and Khara. Because they are also in bodily conception of life. Because those who are in bodily conception of life, what they are known as Gokhara is already established. And then if you follow them, then you are also an animal. You will also become an animal. Andhayata and Rupagiya Manaha. By following blind leaders, you will also become a blind man. You just like a blind person, he falls into a ditch, then following him, you will also fall into a ditch. So like that, if you follow someone, a conditioned soul of this world, as our leader, as our role model, then we are as good as Svabit Varaha Ustra Karaihi. So these four animals are very interestingly chosen actually. Bhagavatam, Prabhupada explains that why these four animals have been chosen. Why this a dog cannot live independently, isn't it? A dog always wants a master. If he has a master, then he's very happy, he's very comfortably situated. Time to time he's given food, and then he's taken care. So a dog cannot have an independent existence. If he's a street dog, then he's very miserable. If he gets a good master, then he's very happy. And then, so that's why they always look for some master. They cannot have an independent life. And then Vidvaraha means, Vidvaraha is known for eating indiscriminately. The hog, it does not make any distinction what is good, what is not good. It just, anything and everything it eats. Most abominable thing also to eat. And indulge in sense gratification without any discrimination. That is Vidvaraha is concerned, animals. And Ustra is actually camel. Camels, they enjoy eating their own thorn, like their own blood actually. The camels enjoy eating thorns. Why do they enjoy eating thorns? Thorns are very pleasing. By eating thorns, what pleasure? It will only give pain actually. But this camel, it enjoys eating thorns because when it bites a thorn, the thorn pricks the tongue of the camel and blood starts oozing out. So that blood and this thorn gets mixed and it creates a special taste for this camel. So it relishes that taste. It relishes drinking its own blood actually. So that's why this camel, similarly these material sense gratifiers, they are indulging in sense gratification, and actually they think that there is happiness in sense enjoyment, but there is no happiness. There is no happiness in the sense object, but actually they are they are harming their own body. They are harming their own self. So that's the example of a Ustra, camel, and Karaihi, a donkey. A donkey, it carries so much load on its back and it works so hard. And in the end, what does he gain? He gains only a few morsels of grass. That grass is available anywhere, but still, he wants to work hard and carry the load on his back to serve the dhobi, the washerman. So like this karmis, these fruity workers are also like this category. They are also like Kharai, this Swavid Varaha Ustra, Go Karaha, the Ustra and Karaihi. And because they are after sense gratification, because they all want sense enjoyment in this world, and whoever promises sense gratification, they will accept them as their leaders. If some politician promises them that I'll arrange for you all these kind of benefits, then he will start addressing us, you are a Mahatma, you are a great soul. They will worship him as a Mahatma. Or if some yogi, he teaches some yogic exercises and heals his body, some illness gets cured, or some physician, he treats them and his illness is treated, then he addresses him as a Mahatma. You are a Mahatma, you are a great soul. You have alleviated my bodily suffering so that I can continue my sense gratificatory activities. So like this, anyone who facilitates that sense gratification, anyone who enhances their material sense enjoyment, then they will glorify them as their leaders, as their Mahatma, a great personality, like that. But that is not the way to ascribe or identify someone as a Mahatma or not. So a Mahatma's symptom is what? A Mahatma are those who are under the Daivi Prakriti of Lord Krishna, who have transcended the three modes of material nature, who are above the bodily conception of life, and who are pure devotees of Krishna, who are completely dedicated to the service of Lord Sri Krishna without any material motives. They are called Mahatmas. So his only motive is Krishna Bhakti. So in that way, there is one very strong statement in Bhagavatam. In Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 23rd chapter, 56th shloka, it is mentioned like this, that Neha yat karma dharmaya na viraghaya kalpate na tirtha pada sevayani Jivan api mrutohi saha. Jivan api mrutohi saha. It is mentioned like that. That anyone whose work is not meant for elevating him to religious life, anyone whose religious ritualistic performance do not raise him to renunciation, and anyone situated in renunciation that does not lead him to devotional service to Supreme Personality of Godhead must be considered dead although he is breathing. It is said that Jivan api mrutohi saha. That means anyone who does not come to the conclusion of engaging oneself in pure devotional service of Lord Shri Krishna, but he diverts the attention of people in something else, then he is considered to be Jivan api mrutohi saha. Even though he is living, even though he is breathing and he is living, he should be considered as mruta. Mruta means he is dead. So this human life is especially meant for understanding Supreme Lord Krishna, understanding our relationship with Supreme God, and to engage in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So instead of that, if someone diverts our attention, if someone diverts our our purpose of life to something else in pursuit of sense gratification, then such a person is considered to be Jivan api mrutopi saha. Like even though he is living, is as good as dead. It is mentioned like that. Bhagavatam is so rigid. So that's the reason. So one should not get misled by all these blind leaders, all these so-called spiritual leaders, those who are in bodily conception of life, dehatma buddhi. So one should accept the real Mahatmas as our role models. One should accept real great personalities as our guide, as our role model, so that we can achieve the perfection of life. That's why Narottam Das Thakur says that Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya Chittete Koriya Aikya. So they are the guide for our life. Sadhu, Shastra, Guru. These three are the guide for our life. Who is Sadhu? Sadhu means a great personality like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, or all the acharyas coming in the Parampara system, in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, and all other Vaishnava Sampradayas also. So those who are great devotees, they are all sadhus. Shastra is the scriptures, revealed scriptures like Gita and Bhagavatam, and Guru, the spiritual master. Sadhu, Shastra, Guru, Chittete Koriya Aikya. This is the prescription by Narottam Das Thakur. So one should follow in the footsteps of these three personalities. These three, we should follow these three recommendations by Narottam Das Thakur, that one should follow in the footsteps of Sadhu, the great personalities, and the Shastra, the revealed scriptures, and Guru, the spiritual master. So accepting the guidance of these three is the actual way of following the great personalities. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur also has mentioned that Miche Mayar Vashe Yacha Beshe Kacha Habudubu Bhai Jiva Krishna Das E Vishwas Karle Tu Aur Dukho Nai. So don't be carried away by the waves of Maya. Just surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna and all miseries will end. So one should not get carried away. Miche Mayar Vashe Yacha Beshe Kacha Habudubu Bhai. So if you follow all these blind leaders, if you follow some conditioned souls as your role models, if you follow so-called spiritual leaders as the guide for our life, then what happens? Miche Mayar Vashe Yacha Boshe Kacha Habudubu Bhai. Like it is mentioned that we will get carried away the waves of Maya. Like in the waves of Maya means, it's like the ocean. In the ocean, there are waves tossing. So we get carried away by these waves. Because these so-called material leaders, they are also in the waves of Maya, and by following them, we will also be under Maya. And we will also be tossed by these waves of Maya. Then what one should do, like Prabhupada used to give the example, just like you have to cross the ocean. Now to cross the ocean, can we cross the ocean by catching hold to the tail of a dog? A dog can swim in the water sometimes, So now a dog is swimming, so now I'll catch hold of the tail of a dog and I'll also cross over the ocean. Is it possible like that? Not possible. So one should catch hold a real boat, a real strong ship which can take us out of this bhavasagara. So like that, that real ship is Guru, Shastra and Sadhu. These are the real strong, solid ship which can take us out of this bhavasagara. We should keep them as our role models, not that some celebrities in the world, not some political leaders of this world. Then we are doomed. So that's why Yudhisthira Maharaj is setting example from his own life that Guru Gata Purvan Mahatma Bihi, that just like all his forefathers and Mahatmas, how did they lead their life? The same way, he also pursued the same path. Similarly, we should also keep Guru, Shastra and Sadhu as our guidance, as our role models, and follow in their footsteps. Mahajanena Gatasya Pantaha. Like Mahajana, there are 12 Mahajanas mentioned in the script, in the Bhagavatam. Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kumaro, Kapilo, Manahu, Prahlado, Janaka, Bhishma, Balir, Vayasakir, Vayam. There are 12 Dwadasha Mahajanas are there. So you have to follow these Mahajanas. Of course, there are all the Acharyas coming in the Parampara system. Like in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, we accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as our role model, as a Mahajana. And after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the 6 Goswamis are Mahajanas. Rupa Sanatana, Raghunath Bhattajuga, Sri Jiva. Like this, all the Shed Goswamis are our Mahajanas. And then Bhaktivedanta Thakura, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati and Srila Prabhupada. So all the Acharyas in the Parampara system, the disciplic succession, are the Mahajanas. So we have to follow in their footsteps. We are also known as Rupanugas. Rupanuga means who follow the footsteps of Rupa Goswami. So they are the Mahajanas. We have to follow their footsteps, not some conditioned souls and be called as Swavid Varaha Ustra. If you follow some conditioned soul, then we will also be considered as a dog, a hog, a camel and an ass. So do we have to become like that? No, isn't it? So if we want to achieve the perfection of life, if we want to achieve the goal of life, then we have to follow the real Mahajanas, the true Mahajanas. Otherwise, of course, there is a mass mentality. There is a logic mentioned in the Bhagavatam. There is a logic of Gadurika Pravaha. Gadurika Pravaha means what? One man is doing something and another man is following. There is a Gadurika Pravaha. There is a logic of Gadurika Pravaha. It is mentioned like that. Because someone is doing that, or someone is he's a follower of some celebrity in YouTube or in Facebook, then I will also become a follower of him. There are people like that who do that. It's called mass mentality. Okay, so everybody is going there, let me also go there. And if he is Prabhupada used to say, like Prabhupada's own words, and I'll just read that. One man is doing something and another man is following. Of course, if you follow a sajjana, a devotee, that is very nice. But if you follow a rascal, then you also become a rascal. Of course, this is Prabhupada's words. Like Prabhupada says, of course, he used to use such kind of harsh words. So, okay, if everybody is going somewhere, so let me also go there. Everybody is going to a cricket stadium, let me also go to cricket stadium. The IPL match is going. So everybody, all my friends are going to watch IPL match, let me also go and watch IPL match. That's the mass mentality. This is known as logic of Gadurika Pravaha. So this should not be accepted. Because if you follow an ignorant man, then you will also become ignorant. So you should always follow a sajjana. Sajjana means a pure devotee of Krishna, a Mahatma, a true Mahatma, one who is above these 3 gunas, above the bodily conception of life, one who is under the internal potency of Lord Shri Krishna, he is a pure devotee of Krishna, bhajanti ananya manaso, then he can award us the greatest benefit. So it's actually at the present moment, the whole world is filled with all this grossly ignorant bodily conception of life, such people only. So one should be very careful while accepting someone as one's role model, someone as his guide, and accept Guru, Shastra and Sadhu as the guidance for one's life and be successful. Yeah, so anyway, I'll stop now. Are there any questions, any doubts you can ask? Any questions are there? Yeah. There's a question. Avinash Chandra.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that the soul transfers from one body to another body.
Yeah.
In another shloka, Krishna says the soul is achala, means immovable.
Yeah.
So how to understand this?
So in Gita, about the characteristics of the soul, it is mentioned by Lord Krishna that soul is achala, it is immovable, and there Krishna also talks about how soul transmigrates from one body to another body, isn't it? Yeah, how to understand this? So that transmigration of soul is very clear, isn't it? Dehinosmi neta dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tata dehantara prapti dhirastatana muhyati. That soul transmigrates from one body to another body, like soul shifting from one location to another location, it shifts. And at the same time, it is achala, it is immovable. It is immovable means actually it does not go through any transformations. Soul, just like body goes through various transformations, body, any matter goes through the 6 kinds of changes and transformations. It is born, it grows, and then it remains for some time, then it goes through various, it reproduces and then dwindles, and one day it vanishes. So this is the changes of the body, the transformations of the matter. But soul, it does not go through any transformations. The soul is Sachidananda Amsha of Lord Krishna. It is immutable, it's unchangeable, and it is immovable also. Like it remains, like it does not go through the changes with the influence of Kala. The time factor, changes matter. Matter goes through all these transformations with the influence of time. But soul does not go through any changes with the influence of time. So that's the reason.
Thank you.
Okay, another question. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, today you mentioned Varna Ashrama.
Yeah.
So in Kali Yuga, everything is hosh-posh. You
Yes.
know the kind of jobs we have. And in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has guided Sthane Sthite.
Yeah.
So should we just follow what Srila Prabhupada says, sing, dance and pray in whatever situation of life? Because we now following Varnashrama is, as Kali Yuga has...
Correct. So that's why now in this stage, in this period of time, can we follow Varnashrama? Can we take Vanaprasthans, go take sannyas? So that's why we say Guru, Shastra and Sadhu. So what have they prescribed now? Srila Prabhupada, actually Guru is Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada has asked us, Srila Prabhupada says, at certain stage of life, one should come out of all these family encumbrance and go to Vrindavan, go to Mayapur or Vrindavan and stay there and practice Krishna consciousness. Not that we can go to some forest, because in the forest also, unless we are trained in Krishna consciousness, in spiritual life, there are chances of getting victimized by Maya. So one should go to a holy place, where there is an abundant opportunity for one to practice Krishna consciousness or devotional service to Lord Krishna. So one should go to a holy dham like Vrindavan or Mayapur and spend rest of his life, or wherever devotional service is practiced. One should take the association of devotees. One should get connected to a temple of Krishna. Especially ISKCON centers are there. ISKCON centers are situated all over the world. So one should get associated with these temples, with the devotees of the temple, and practice Krishna consciousness.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, Krishna promises in Bhagavad Gita and tells that a person comes to my abode, one person comes to my abode, he will never come back again to this material world. But you see that many living entities are all fallen down. But again, that Srila Prabhupada says that in one statement that most of the people fall down because of sense gratification, desire of sex life, to satisfy that. But when in Golok Vrindavan, there is no lust anything, like who are we are Sachitanand Rup, then how we fall down? Like,
how the soul fallen from the spiritual sky.
Yeah, and Krishna says that once we go there and we will never we will never come back. Yeah. That's something statements.
Yeah. So now, like now we are fallen into this material world. So once we purify ourselves and go back to spiritual world, then we will not come back again. Okay. Now from this material world, when you go back to spiritual sky, into spiritual world, then there's no more punarjanma. Okay, there's no more rebirth. That's what Krishna has promised. Now in the first place, why did we come from there? Why did we fall from the spiritual world? That's because of our own free will. Because we have exercised our free will in such a way that Krishna has made this kind of an arrangement. So each one of us have got this free will. We have this minute independence. Though we can choose to either serve Lord Krishna or to be independent of Krishna. The choice is given to us. Now that's called Ichcha Dvesha Samuttena Dvandva Mohena Bharata. In the 7th chapter also it is mentioned that Ichcha and Dvesha, because of our own Ichcha, material desires, and Dvesha, we have our enmity towards Supreme Lord Krishna.
My question was that still Ichcha will be there in spiritual world also. Like still we may be.
Yes. So that Ichcha, Krishna respects our desires. If a living entity desires to be independent of Krishna, he wants to enjoy on his own, not to serve Krishna, then Krishna will fulfill that desire also. Like if someone wants to, someone wants to be in the temple and serve Krishna, or someone wants to be on his own. That choice is living entity's choice, isn't it? Like you can choose either to come to temple, or you can choose to go to a movie also, a cinema theater also. The choice is given to you. Like you have to make that conscious decision whether I shall go to temple and practice Krishna consciousness, or I'll go to a movie theater and watch some cinema. So this choice you need to make, isn't it? So that kind of a free will is given to all the living entities. In the spiritual world also there is no force or compulsion. When you go back to spiritual sky, in spiritual sky also Krishna will respect your choice. He will respect your decision. Whether you want to serve Krishna or you want to be independent of Krishna. The choice is there even in spiritual world also. Living entity has got that free will. Now if some living entities in spiritual world decide, oh no, I want to enjoy on my own, independent of Krishna, then they are sent to material world. Then they are sent to this material world. An illusory atmosphere is created in this material world where they can fulfill their desire for independent enjoyment. And then after reformation, after rectification of our mistakes, so when we go back to spiritual world, then we'll no more commit such mistake. So because till we come to that stage, we cannot go back to Godhead. We cannot go back to spiritual world till we are completely reformed. And we are sure that we are not going to make this mistake again of desiring to enjoy independent of Krishna. Till that point, we will not go back to spiritual world. So once we are back into the spiritual world, there is no more rebirth. Okay. So this free will is there. This kind of a this choice, this decision, whether to serve Krishna or to be on my own. So this kind of a choice is given to living entity, and we have to exercise our free will.
Free will is the main thing.
Yes, free will is the main thing. So each one of us have got this certain amount of free will, and we have to exercise that free will rightly.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. In the book Krishna Supreme Personality of Godhead, it has been repeatedly said that a devotee of Krishna need not worship any other demigods. But in the book Nectar of Devotion, around the chapter offenses to be avoided by a devotee, it has been said a devotee of Krishna has to worship Lord Ganesha because his mind would always be concentrated on the lotus feet of Lord Narasimha. Yeah. So how does a devotee construe this? Can maybe as Narasimha is also an avatar, Vishnu Tattva. So a devotee can right away concentrate his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna and ignore this, or how is it? This leads into a lot of confusion for a devotee. Would you please clarify this? Thank you.
Yeah. You see, we should not disrespect any of the devatas. All the devatas are also a great devotees of Krishna. You know, see, these devatas, they have been given that position because they are all great devotees of the Lord. They are very obedient to Krishna. They are very faithful to Krishna. That's why they have been given that position. You know. So now they are Vaishnavas. They are devotees. Now, if you disrespect these Vaishnavas, then it is a Vaishnava aparat. You know? It's an offense, isn't it? So nobody should disrespect any of the devatas. So when we go to a devata temple, we should bow down before them, should offer our respects to them because they have been given that position because of their seva to Lord Krishna. Okay. So nowhere in the Vaishnava literatures, devatas are disrespected. But what is mentioned is that one should develop attachment for Krishna alone. You know, one's attachment, one's devotion should be only for Krishna and no other devata. Because if Krishna is served, then all other devatas are automatically served. Because all the devatas are his different parts of his body only. His Virat Rupa, like when Krishna showed his universal form, in that universal form, all the devatas were also there. Isn't it? So when we serve Krishna, then all the devatas are automatically served because they are different bodily parts of his Virat Rupa. So one need not have to go and independently serve all the devatas. Simply serve Supreme Lord Krishna. Yasmin tushte jagat tushtaha. If Krishna is served, then all other devatas are also served. So one need not have to go and worship each and every devata. Just worship one Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Then all the devatas are automatically served. And because these devatas are all obedient, faithful, order carriers of Lord Sri Krishna, so they are great devotees of the Lord. So we should respect them, should honor them, you know, as Vaishnavas. Just like we treat other Vaishnavas, like that we should treat them also. You know. And it is mentioned that if we worship the spiritual master is Sarvadeva Mayo Guru. Spiritual master is the embodiment of all the devatas. So now, simply by worshipping Guru, we are worshipping all other devatas also. So all the Vaishnavas are taken care like that. Anyway, so nobody should disrespect any Vaishnavas. The devatas are also great devotees. Should respect them. But our devotion, our attachment should be only with Krishna. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Jai Jai, Hare Krishna.